We are back with Moon in the 11th house. That's right. Numero 11. And there's so much that goes on in the 11th house with the moon here. I mean, so much. For one thing, people with moon in 11th house can be extremely detached. Yes, very detached. And I'm talking like in a sense to where there's always like this is days about them to where they can have close friends and associates, family, but something about them will always seem unfamiliar or distant. Like something that's always distant. Like it's no real way to necessarily tap into their emotions or a deeper sense of who they are. It's not that they are unemotional, it's they don't tend to project their emotions in a typical way to where they're over emotional. A lot of it they tend to just keep to themselves or they'll just express through communication. And yes, not for nothing. I mean, you have some people with displacement to where maybe when they were growing up or were dealing with their mothers, issues around security, it could have been that they really wore a lot on their backs or they seen a lot. They've experienced a lot. So in turn, they tend to hold stuff in because for them, it could have been that they felt like there was really no one to hear them. There was when it was time for them to vent or be emotionally vulnerable, it could have been so much other stuff going on around them to where even if they did say something, it's almost like, well, who is gonna understand? Who is gonna hear me? So yeah, they can feel misunderstood because when they do go to express themselves and communicate how they feel, earlier on they could have learned that people dismiss them or either feel like the way that they're projecting themselves is or the way that they're projecting their emotions is rather weird or offbeat, different even. But that is also the same thing that people find strangely odd about Moon and 11th house placements is the same reason why people that really do understand them, or even if they don't really understand them, but that's why people are drawn to them, could be the same reason why people like them because they feel that there's something about this person that they can't quite grasp, but at the same time, they're pretty authentic, you know? And I will say that people with Moon in the 11th house can make great friends and they can make great counselors and even therapists because they have the ability to listen to people, to hear them out. And it could seem like there's a lot that they know. So friends like going to them to talk to them, to express what's going on with their feelings to people with the moon in the 11th house because they know that these people are going to give them truthful input or truthful is going to be able to do a truthful observation about the situation and give them the best route that they should take in order to fix their problem, or they just vent to the people with the moon in the 11th house. This is what makes people with moon in the 11th house great to go talk to and vent to, because a lot of times people with moon in the 11th house, they'll listen, but when it comes to expressing themselves in return or their emotions rather, they can be rather detached. They may not express them, and it could just almost seem like their emotions are foreign to them. And for some of them, it can be rather hard to really tap into those feelings and emotions, or it could be hard for them to explain how they feel. And you got to be careful. Like people with moon in the 11th house, you have to be careful because people can take advantage of you. Like moon in 11th house people could be very giving because they can tend to want to see people thrive or people do well. And yes, in return, knowing that people are doing well around them can actually benefit them too. Because, like, who wants to be in a family situation or in any living situation or just any position at work in life in general to where you can't, like, the surroundings are messed up and you can't benefit from them? Who wants to be in those positions? So people with moon in 11th house are the true believers of you become who you hang around. Even if they find themselves hanging around or affiliating, having associations with people that are just not operating in their, at their highest potential, they could tend to want to help those people become like these versions of their better selves, and or versions of their higher selves. Moon and 11th house people really do dream big. They really do dream big, and they really have great potential to live out what it is they exactly want to do. But sometimes they can find it seems like so far off. Like the goals that they want, the dreams that they want could seem so far off to them or just so different. Like they could grow up in one setting, one situation, and then it's like, oh, to make it to being this great person with all this potential and living a life that of their dreams and that they always wanted could just seem like it's impossible to do, because how do they get there? And they really have to find ways. Moon and 11 house people, you have to find ways to connect who you are in your being, in your physical being, with your higher self to manifest. And it's so interesting because you can help other people do that, but sometimes it can be very hard for you, for them. You can help other people do that, but sometimes it can be very hard for you to do the same for yourself. But I tell you one thing, you gotta believe in some of the associations that you build for yourself, because your friends and associates, your social circles can definitely help you get there to achieving your dreams. And I understand some people you'll be able to trust, some people you won't. But if you don't put yourself out there, you will never know either way. And I feel like you guys have a strong sense of intuition. So using your intuition is always going to be beneficial for you. It's beneficial for everybody, and especially people with moon in the 11th house. And using your intuition helps you practice connecting to your inner self, your emotions, and help you validate your emotions. And you have to understand that before others can validate the way you feel, you have to be able to validate how you feel, by sometimes talking to yourself and venting to yourself and coming up and admitting to yourself like how you really feel. So even in like conversations and exchanges you're having with your little friends or people that you conversate with and you help and you socialize with, sometimes venting to them about how you feel in a very authentic way will open up your intuition for you and help you connect with yourself more. And doing so, you're able to really connect with the universe. You're able to, feel connected to your friends in your relationships, and you're able to live out your dreams, like manifest them. Because remember, the moon is in the subconscious mind, and we're manifesting through our minds. And the proper way to manifest is having an understanding or some type of control over our minds. Okay, and you can't do that if you're dealing with a whole bunch of junk that doesn't need to go there, that needs to be healed, that needs to be transformed and done away with. So moon in the 11th house, I feel like I really feel are special, very special individuals, and very smart. A lot of times they don't express how smart they are, but they have a lot in their mind. they're able to really connect to higher aspects of life in a very spiritual way. They're able to make their dreams come true, and by connecting with themselves and clearing their subconscious and being in tune with their intuitions, and by being vulnerable, more emotionally vulnerable, people around them can really help make their dreams come true. I'm Butterfly Light, and this has been Moon in the 11th house, the subconscious mind.